everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, October 4th, 2020. Did something happen at the clinic tonight, Elena? Elena, did something happen at the clinic tonight? Oh, something happened at the clinic tonight, Devon. Something big happened at the clinic tonight, Devon. And you need to know about it. Everybody just stand back. I'm going to be the one to tell him. Devon, sit down. Devon, sit down. Because I got something to tell you. Can I get you a glass of water or something else? Because what I'm about to tell you is, Devon, Elena had sex with Nate tonight, Devon. I know, it's true. It's true. Elena and Nate had down and dirty sex all over that clean and sterile clinic room. Devon, I know this is shocking to you, and it's not important how it happened. Blah, blah, Jared, drugs, blah, blah. Elena had sex with Nate tonight, Devon. And she liked it too, Devon. I'm just saying, Elena liked it. So, if there happens to be anybody out there just walking around with your dead wife's face who you might want to fall in love with, now would be the time, Devon, because you'd be justified. Well, here's the problem. Elena is pregnant right now. Like, right this very minute. A sperm and an egg are fusing together to form a new soap baby. And the thing is, we don't know who that sperm belongs to, Devon, because you had sex with Elena this week too, Devon. You had sex with her, like, last night. So that baby could either belong to you or to your cousin Nate, kind of like what happened to your father, Neil, with Malcolm and Drew. Only Y&R is not going to wait 20 years to blow this secret. Elena's going to try to lie to you, Devon. I know this is a lot. But Elena is going to try to lie to you. She's going to try to act like nothing happened. But it's going to eat away at her slowly, Devon. Until she does finally come clean with you and decides to tell you in a very dramatic fashion. But that's when you're going to have your opportunity. See, that's when you're going to get to hook up with Amanda. You see, while we're waiting out the paternity test results. The bad news is, right when you get all happy with Amanda, that's when you're going to find out that Elena's baby is yours. And then you're going to be all torn between raising a family with Elena, who you love, but who doesn't excite you, and who just betrayed you by having sex with Nate. You're going to be torn between that and Amanda, who you love and who makes you feel alive again. Like how you felt when Hilary was alive. I know. There's so much that you have to process right now. Are you gonna be okay, Devon? 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 Oh, you didn't expect me to just sit back and not tell him, did you? He needed to know, and frankly, the second that I saw what Elena had done, I knew I needed to be the one to tell him. I was going to go to him right away. Excellent. Just absolutely excellent. I mean, honestly, I asked you guys last week if you felt like Elena was overreacting to Devon's relationship with Amanda, and it was a 51-49 split of people saying, and yeah, I think Elena just needs to relax and chill out. Well, yeah, I'd say she does. She just needed to relax. And that's not exactly what she did. or she relaxed. It just wasn't in the way that I anticipated. I am actually so proud of Elena. I feel that she finally earned her soap stripes. She has sinned. Finally. I couldn't be more proud of her. Elena has been so squeaky clean for so long. And now she has this new juicy facet to her character. Ooh, 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 ooh. She's gonna try to hide it too. That's the thing. She's gonna be saying for the next couple of weeks that she can't tell Devon what happened. She doesn't want to risk hurting him and sending him over the edge, especially not now while Amanda's looking around. So Elena is going to try to justify it. She is gonna say that she was tired. She's been working long hours. She had that nightmare. She wasn't well rested. She and Nate had a couple of beers after Jared dropped by, literally, on the floor just to unite them. I don't know what this is gonna do to Nate. He is gonna go along with whatever Elena says, and you know it. He's gonna go along to keep the truth from Devon, but it's gonna eat away at him slowly too. I mean, Nate went from peril to sex in about 60 seconds. Oh, but there's just nothing like peril to make you want to have risky sex. Elena is all emotional over Devon and the medical whatever that just happened with what's his name. So she's seeming like she needs some comfort. And there's this split second where Nate licks his lips and asks Elena if she wants to be alone. See, if you watch that scene 6 or 7 times like I did, you'll notice that moment when Nate licks his lips before he goes in. And then the music, it gets all perfectly timed with those like sexy beats that you know are what? I mean, they must have just heard the music and knew what they had to do, because Elena gives Nate this look like, no, I don't want to be alone, Nate. And he does not waste a second. He knows exactly what her eyes are saying, and he just goes for it. Oh! I freaking loved all of the 6 or 7 times that I watched that scene. It was a great Friday cliffhanger, and it was a gorgeous scene too. The lighting was very shadowy and very warm and very sensual, and the way that we panned away from Elena and Nate's faces to just see their shadows on the wall kissing, that was damn ingenious, if you ask me, given especially what we're dealing with now, the situation we're filming around now. And if you look close, you can also see that it was Brighton who was in that shadowy scene with Brittany. His head shape is very distinct. Go back and look at the shadows on the wall. You can see that it's Devon, actually, like Devon and Elena doing the behind the scenes on that. But I thought it was so excellent. I mean, I'm so in. This is the story of the week for me. I think simply the implication of Nate and Elena's naughty night was sexy as hell. And I am one satisfied customer. After a long night of explaining to Devon how Elena just cheated on him with Nate, I'm in the mood to come home, kick back in my chair, and, settle in by the fire to read a brand new true crime article that I've been hearing a lot of buzz about. It's called the making of a monster. Sounds perfect for this time of year. I would just love to snuggle up by the fire, crack open a hard copy of that masterpiece. I want all of the dirty little details on Adam Newman, not just the ones that we know about, not just the crimes and stuff. I'm feeling like Billy probably published all kinds of little things about Adam, like right down to the type of underwear he buys. And I, for one, would like to know what type of underwear Adam buys. Probably those fancy pants, like the ones that are super soft, but then look all stretched out after 3 times through the wash. But whatever, Adam can afford to just wear them once and pitch them. Oh, this week is so great. Best week. Adam realizes that he cannot stop the story that Billy's about to publish, so he decides to call in the big dog, Victor, as a last-ditch effort. So Victor marches over to Billy's office just to make the situation worse. Just to push all of Billy's buttons, including the Delia button, talking about how Billy couldn't even protect his own child, when that's all Victor was trying to do for his. So, of course, Billy retaliates. Of course. Billy releases the story. Despite Lily's objection, despite Amanda's warnings, and despite all of those loose and uncorroborated claims that are on page 2 and 3 toward the back, Billy just goes for it. For Billy, this is so obviously personal with Adam and with Victor. Billy knows it. Everybody knows it. He's even working on part 2 of the story. Adam has so much dirt to uncover. And I don't know how much worse it's going to get. Adam told Chelsea twice this week that he was going to kill Billy Abbott. Is that some foreshadowing there? I'm trained to spot the foreshadowing. It's hard to believe that Billy is going to get away with this unscathed, especially when he has literally done many of the things that he's accusing Adam of having done. The battle lines have been drawn. This is so good. This is exactly what I was hoping for. And now it's time to pick a side. The battle lines are drawn. It's time to pick a side. Whose side are you on? That's our poll question for this week. Are you Team Adam or are you Team Billy? YRChat.com. Declare your side. No weaning out. You can't, there's no undecided, there's no Switzerland here. You pick one of these teams at YRChat.com. Tell me who you pick and tell me why. I might just have to be on Team Billy simply for the fact that I am loving the Adam drama. I love that we are taking Adam Newman to court, to the court of public opinion. Ugh, it's good that he has a full-time attorney. I just think this is so great. Adam has been a very controversial character ever since Y&R reintroduced him as an adult in 2008. He's been the center of so many plots. Everyone in town has an opinion on him. And so this exposé story is just a great way to connect it all together, to connect many characters together and back into Adam. I was wowed by the fact that Y&R brought back Ashley for this. I didn't know she was coming back. Seeing her was a complete surprise to me. And it's as it should be. She should be here. If Faith and the baby swap is included in Billy's exposé, then it makes sense that Ashley should be there to see it all aired out. The other wow factor for me was the realization that the publishing of this story connects Faith to Adam and therefore reconnects Sharon to Adam. It all makes sense now. I was absolutely floored to see Y&R taking the time to have Faith realize that she was the subject of this infamous, sickening drama that happened so long ago. And Faith said to her mom, so this happened, how could you be friends with Adam after that? Sharon was married to Adam after that. He was your stepdad for a while. Didn't that part make it into the story? And to take it a step further, I never would have thought about this, but it's having real-time repercussions on Faith's life now. Apparently, this story of Billy's is so hot, and Faith's identity is so obvious that all of her classmates put it together right away that she was the baby who had been stolen, the baby that Adam kidnapped from Sharon and gave to Ashley. And kids are cruel, right? Are kids still cruel? They were cruel when I was this age, and now they have a new tool to be cruel with: text messages, the internet. It's the perfect place, the perfect way to be an anonymous coward. So Faith starts getting text message after text message from freaking Emily saying that Faith's mom probably wants to switch her back. I swear, give me Emily's address. Just tell me exactly where Emily lives, because I will march over there right now and have a talk with her mother that she will not soon forget. Poor Faith. I remember when this actress was aged up, we were, as Y&R chatters, always speculating that Faith was going to be really, really screwed up because, I mean, she's the product of Nick and Sharon's screwed up lives. But now look at her. I mean, honestly, Faith's got it together. I think Faith is going to be all right. She didn't even need Nick and Sharon's counseling. I think Faith can and will handle her own business herself. The word of the week is blowback. Could be a drinking game. Take a shot every time someone says the word blowback. It's not too late. We can probably still play next week. Oh. Find time to start developing a conscience, Victoria. The second that this story hits the webs, Victoria starts showing concern about how much blowback this is going to have on Victor. No, forget it, Victoria. You had weeks to think about that. She called Billy to meet in the park, acting like she was going to rip into him for releasing this story before she had a chance to approve it, but that's not how it works. Billy told her, "You wanted this. Don't be mad at me for making it happen." Yeah, agreed. I guess she didn't anticipate that now Ray would be at the ranch interrogating Victor. Hey, will you look at that? Ray being a cop, helping out the Kansas City Police Department, the KCPD. I wonder if Paul is going to be brought in to help out with this part of the investigation. I assumed it was going to be all about Chance, but now I'm thinking that maybe Paul's going to come in and have some scenes with Victor and give Doug Davidson and Eric Braden a chance to share those scenes together. Victor's not real happy with his daughter for working with Billy to put a big old target on his back, and Victoria bold-faced lied to Victor earlier in the week, acting like she knew nothing about this story, and Victoria even agreed to spy on Billy for Victor. I was so thrilled when Victoria got back from her meeting in the park with Billy, walked into her office, and found Victor sitting in the chair. The only way that could have been better would have been if he would have spun around in the chair to reveal himself and then had given her the classic Victor Newman anger judgment look. Victor Newman not happy. Victor Newman is not happy. He gave her that chair. He built that chair from the ground up. And this is how she repays him? That was such a dramatic confrontation. And Victoria did say one thing that was really interesting to me. She explained that the reason she couldn't just let go of this vendetta with Adam that we've all been speculating about for weeks and weeks now. Why is Victoria still on this? Well, she explained that even after she got, the CEO job, she felt like she needed to destroy Adam's character publicly so that he would always be an unsuitable replacement for the CEO job. She knew that Adam was going to be her only competition ever for that chair, and making a public disgrace of him ensured that Adam would never, or at least for now, be named as her replacement. Wow. That's pretty smart, actually. Pretty smart, Victoria, because now Victor is stuck with her. She's the only one of his children who wants to run the company, and until she does something at the company that gives Victor a reason to fire her, she's still in charge. But what then? What if something does happen to Victoria? Who will be left to run the Newman Enterprises ship? There's nobody else left. I think maybe Faith needs to get a job in the mailroom. Because Victor has burned through everyone else in the family. In a few months, there's going to be no one else left. Who is this Phyllis? Who is this trying to convince Billy to not publish a story that will destroy Victor and Adam in one punch? Gina Tognoni's Phyllis would have been all over this. A year ago, Phyllis would have been salivating at the idea to get in on this. She would have been throwing a launch party at the Grand Phoenix after the story went to press. She probably would have even named a new drink after it. The Making of a Monster Martini. $10. Hey, maybe that's a good way for Phyllis to raise some money for the hotel, since apparently it's cash poor and on the edge of disaster. Phyllis was taking a phone call this week from someone who tells her that her taxes are due this year, not next year. Tisk tisk, Phyllis. Genoa City is full of doctors and lawyers and corporate sharks and not one single accountant. Now she's selling off her stock portfolio to raise cash. Bad news, Phyllis. You're going to have to pay taxes on those stocks you're selling too. Just a heads up. Oh. I love it, though. I still love Desperate Phyllis. I was getting flashes of 90s Phyllis there on Friday when she was flaming all alone in her hotel room, talking to herself, saying, I don't fail. I never fail. The word fail is not even in my vocabulary. She was giving me Lucy Van Pelt vibe all over again. It was Phyllis from the 90s. It was her being totally self-assured. I don't fail when we, the audience, know and have seen her fail dozens of times. It was very that. And at the tail end of Friday's show, she was making a phone call to Victoria. I don't know how she thinks that Victoria is going to be able to do anything for her. But I do appreciate that her first instinct was not just to run to her rich boyfriend for a bailout. I like that Phyllis has this hotel as something that's hers, even though I think it would be really perfect to see Phyllis and Nick working the hotel together as a couple. Phyllis and Nick's sexy new haircut, high and tight to perfection. It's Kyle and Lola's divorce day. The papers are finalized, it's official, and Summer's ready to crack a bottle of champagne open. It's a little insensitive. Kyle was surprisingly somber. And then he secretly goes to society to see Lola, trying to give the marriage a modicum of respect on the day that they lay it to rest, taking a moment to mourn it together. Well, Summer has a sneaky suspicion that that's where he is with Lola. So Summer goes to the restaurant, sees him in the kitchen with Lola, and suddenly gets all paranoid. Summer has this week had all of her memories of the Lola-Kyle-Summer triangle come flooding back to her. She's just remembering all of the ways that Kyle dogged her in favor of Lola. And it's only okay if he's dogging Lola in favor of her. If Kyle's going to be a dog, he's going to be my dog. And then we have Theo right there. I'm kind of waiting to fan Summer's paranoid flames. What the heck did Theo ever do to Lola that was so horrible? Theo has done nothing but try to be Lola's friend in one way or another. Even after they broke up, Theo stopped by society this week to check on her. They broke up last week and he stops by to check on her. I guess she just has him very well trained. He is still hovering and still begging for her forgiveness for no reason. And Lola was cruel to him. She totally shut him down, and I don't understand why. Why? Theo's not good enough to be Lola's boyfriend, and now he's not even good enough to be Lola's friend? I don't get it. I guess maybe we're supposed to believe that now Lola can only see Theo as a painful reminder of the beginning of the end of her relationship with Kyle, never mind all of the rest? I don't know. But Theo gets real tired of being Lola's punching bag, finally. And he makes a comment to her about how if she really wants Kyle, and it's clear that that's what she wants, then she could just have him. It really wouldn't even be that hard for Lola to snatch Kyle away from Summer. Are you freaking kidding me, Y&R? Is this a joke? I was supposed to believe that Kyle was secretly pining for Summer the entire time that he was married to Lola, when he could have had Summer at any moment. And now I'm supposed to believe that Lola secretly wants him back? If Lola entertains the idea of trying to get Kyle back for even one moment, I think I will lose total respect for her. Kyle destroyed their marriage and then destroyed her in the process. He's done nothing to indicate that he regrets the decision to end their marriage. But then again, he did nothing to indicate that he was unhappy in the marriage in the first place. I'm mad. I do not want to flip right back into a Summer, Kyle, Lola triangle again, and I cannot believe that Y&R would be attempting it on the very same day of Kyle and Lola's divorce. But that's where we're headed. That's exactly what it is. We're headed right back to the exact same triangle. That explains why the writers have made Summer and Kyle's family out of the blue opposed to the wedding. That is so obvious. And that also explains Summer's out of the blue insecurity. Where'd that come from? Kyle talks to Jack this week about the engagement to Summer, and Kyle was more, I don't know. Jack seemed more happy than Nick, but that's not really saying very much, and I don't know why. I just don't understand why everyone is opposed to this out of the blue. I did like those scenes with Jack, though, and I couldn't help but notice that Summer was nudging Jack into the direction of dating again, which I fully support. Could it be that we're being hinted at that strategically? And could it be that it's going to happen right as Gloria is returning? I don't know. But we had no resolution or further progress on Nick's disapproval of Kyle and Summer's wedding. So family disapproval plus Summer's insecurity equals Kyle and Summer are now going to decide to do a quickie elopement, which I think is a great idea. Kyle and Summer already had the traditional wedding when Kyle said his vows to Summer that were written about Lola. Oh, remember that? How when Kyle and Summer had their traditional wedding and Kyle stood there at the altar saying his vows that he had written, but he hadn't written them about Summer. He had obviously written them about Lola. Well, maybe traditional wedding isn't a good route to take this soon. Maybe you should just go and elope. I don't think they're going to do it, though. I really don't. I just noticed that Summer seemed to feel really guilty when she was lying to Phyllis, saying that she and Kyle were going away on a business trip, but they were actually going to go elope. I have a feeling that Kyle and Summer are going to go to get on the plane, and they're going to realize that this isn't the right move for them, which will leave open the gap for Lola to fight for her marriage that just ended yesterday before Kyle gets into a different marriage tomorrow. Lola tells Mariah that she broke up with Theo, and Mariah practically broke out into a happy dance. Rude. And then Mariah turns around 5 minutes later and accidentally lets the news slip to Kyle that Lola and Theo are broken up for good. Whoops! Sorry, Lola. Didn't mean to let that slip. I mean, some friend. Mariah, you accidentally said it? You couldn't find a way to keep your mouth shut about that? That was not public information. Mariah's way of making up for it was, let me take you out for a girls' night, Lola. I'll help take your mind off of your troubles. I thought there was supposed to be more to that. I was expecting more. I thought we were going to see the girls' night, or that it was going to lead to some drama with Mariah and Tessa. Maybe it still will, or I don't know. I don't know. But let's talk about Mariah and Amanda. I am so glad that Amanda had a chance to go on the Hilary friendship tour this week, talking to other people than Devon about her sister. I was starting to get nervous that Y&R was going to leave us hanging on that, but Amanda did check in this week with Mariah, Jack, and Phyllis. All in one episode. She's going to spend the next 150 episodes talking to Devon about Hilary, but they crammed those 3 conversations into 1 episode of this week. But that's okay. That's okay. I thought it was so great that Mariah did actually mention the twin twist that brought her back to town. These two have so much more in common than I ever would have even remembered on my own. They both have long-lost dead twin sisters. Learned about them well later in life. I honestly was relieved to see that Mariah did not feel the need to sugarcoat her relationship with Hilary when she was talking to Amanda, as if Mariah feels the need to sugarcoat anything. But sometimes people do remember the dead as being a little nicer, a little softer than they actually were. And Hilary was not nice. She was not soft with Mariah. Hilary was downright mean to Mariah. And Amanda needed to know that. I think Amanda needed to know that side of Hilary too. Jack had all nice things to say, of course, as pretty much did Phyllis, but I really liked the conversation with Phyllis because Phyllis even mentioned that she had a sister too. Can you believe that? Phyllis never mentions her sister anymore, or anyone else in her family, so thanks Y&R for tying that in. Maybe next week is when we're going to get a good long talk between Amanda and Lily, because that still needs to happen. Lily learns that Hilary and Amanda were twins this week, and the look on her face was so shocked and confused when it should have been, oh, finally, we've all been waiting. There was no way that Lily could have been that surprised. Even Devon was not that surprised. But I guess there was just too much going on this week for Lily and Amanda to really dig into it, because they're in the midst of this making of a monster story drama at ChanceCom, and Amanda does ask Lily if she wants to talk about it all. And Lily says, oh, you probably have a lot of questions for me. Like, yeah, you dropped a house on my sister. We're going to talk about that. Next week is probably going to be a more appropriate time to get into it. But in the meantime, Amanda has continued to do research on Hilary. Amanda found no records of Hilary's birth at that Evanston hospital, which leads her to speculate that she and Hilary were not born in a hospital, and that maybe Rose wasn't their mother at all. Maybe Rose was just helping someone else out by taking a baby. Yes. I hate to speculate too far on this part of the story, but I think it's pretty clear that we are inching ever closer to having a brand new family for Amanda. I have a theory about Dina's emerald necklace. Follow me on this. What if Dina's emerald necklace once belonged to a Renaissance-era Italian princess, but was stolen, missing for centuries, spotted a few times somewhere around the Bermuda Triangle, was sold on the black market during World War II, and is so famous it's been dubbed the Teardrop of Love? What do you think? Is it too obvious? Okay, Tracy. Fine, Tracy. You had me at Italian princess. I do like gems and jewels, so please continue to tell me the story of the Teardrop of Love. I am suddenly into the story of the Teardrop of Love. I was glad, though, that Jack had that wonderful self-aware moment of saying to Tracy, please tell me that this is not going to lead to another long-lost Abbott sibling. Yes. You and me both, Jack. You and me both. So I'm into it. And here's the part of the story that I am really tickled about. Jack tells Ashley about the Teardrop of Love, and Ashley tells Jack that Victor might know a little something about that. So Jack plays a visit to the Black Knight, and I must say, I really enjoyed Victor's bedtime story for Jack. Oh, I just wanted to snuggle up and listen to this wonderful little story. Victor just so happens to know that John bought that necklace for Dina on the black market. Once again, doesn't seem like something that John Abbott would do, but okay. The necklace gets stolen from the Abbotts again, and Victor tries to hunt it down because he wanted to buy it for Nikki. This would be a wonderful gift for Nikki, but he was never able to find it again. All he was able to find out was that this necklace was purchased on the black market by a shell corporation. Oh, the shell corporation. I do love a good shell corporation. Well, this shell corporation's name is Bodhi. Now that's B-O-H-D-I. Thank you, Victor, for clarifying the spelling. Because B-O-D-H-I, Bodhi, is a word that means enlightened one in Buddhism. It's chemo. 100% it's chemo. That is it. Chemo bought the necklace, and all of this is leading up to Y&R bringing Chemo, Jack's long-lost son, back onto the show. That's it. There's just no need to further follow this mystery. I already know it. Bodhi is Chemo. Or it's Tucker McCall. Isn't Tucker McCall up in the mountains meditating somewhere right now? I don't know, but guess what? I love this direction of the story in all seriousness, and not because I had to try, but because I was genuinely surprised and happy with the journey this week. I mean, me and Josh Griffith have had our differences of opinion. I mean, I have a very complicated relationship with this guy who I have never met, will never meet, do not know. But he is the main writer of this show, and he gets up under my skin in a way that nobody else can. But then he gives me this wonderful gift of connecting Victor in to this Teardrop of Love mystery. Thank you, Josh. So I have to say, thank you, Josh, for giving me a story that connects Jack and Victor. It's what I've been asking for. A romance for Jack. And after all, as we all know, Victor is the love of Jack's life. Victor is Jack's lifelong romance. I completely forgot that Abby was married to Stitch and that she miscarried a baby with him. That's so sad now that my memory has been jogged. Abby sat down with Chance this week to follow up on that awkward conversation that they had last week about settling down. And she talked vaguely about a military veteran that she was married to. And I could not, for the life of me, figure out who she was talking about. And Y&R didn't mention it. So I had to go look it up. It was 2015. Abby and Stitch were married. She was pregnant, and Stitch had this troubled young son named Max from a previous marriage, and this little kid set up a tripwire to make Abby fall down the stairs and lose her baby. The kid did it on purpose. Ugh. Why didn't she go into any of those details? Maybe it wouldn't have been appropriate, but it would have been an interesting reference point for the audience. And plus, I think that if Abby and Chance are getting serious, it would be appropriate to tell him what had happened to her previous pregnancy. But more importantly, I needed a refresher. What happened to Max? Where is he? Will he be at the military school with Connor? Who said it? I'm your secret weapon. Well, the answer is Nate. Nate said that to Elena last week. I'm your secret weapon. Oh, Nate's her secret weapon, all right. He was her secret weapon, all right. A magnum. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I would never have expected last week when they were just having that innocent conversation that it would turn in to Nate and Elena just absolutely boning down in a clinic room of all places. I mean, we could have predicted that a million years ago, but oh my Lord. So dirty for a place that's supposed to be so clean. Congratulations, Lynn, Daisy, Keisha, Henry, Victoria, and Ambreen. You guys all guessed it right. Here's a kind of a topical line for the week. There are some days I wish the internet didn't exist. Who said it? There's some days I wish the internet didn't exist. Yeah, I guess I can relate to that. But if there was no internet, then I wouldn't have you and you wouldn't have me. So maybe we're better off where we are. But I can relate to the idea. Who said it? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. Tina Cole says, I think it would be good for the show to do a bullying storyline with Faith, especially if they highlight how bullying can affect someone over cell phones and social media. But do we think that Faith has at least one close friend outside of the family that would support her and be by her side? Or is it that all of her friends have turned on her because of the article? I also think, Tina Cole, that this could be an interesting opportunity to do a modern bullying storyline. Someone else had mentioned that there was a bullying storyline with Summer and Fen and another kid quite a while ago. But what's interesting about this in particular is the use of social media and technology to do it, which is like the new way to do it. I mean, when I was in school and, bullying was much more personal and physical, and now there's this just distant and anonymous way that kids use it. And my thought about this is that Faith is not necessarily getting messages from her friends. I mean, I almost kind of wonder if these are people who know Faith but aren't her friends and have found her phone number. I mean, it's not very hard to do. That's what they do. One person finds the phone number and then it goes from all of these other different people. Maybe these are classmates but not friends. I would imagine that Faith was very popular in school, but I want to say that she was having trouble at this school before she went to Switzerland, or she didn't seem excited to be going back to the Genoa City School at all. But it's odd. I would imagine that Faith would be one of the most popular girls in school because she's nice and lovely and a good student and seems like a lovely young lady. So I would imagine her to be popular. But yeah, I think this is something where there could be an opportunity for some real relevant storytelling here, in that this is kind of the new way that kids bully. It hasn't gone away. I guess it's just morphed into a new form. Well, I am looking forward to getting our Team Adam versus Team Billy comments this week. I got a few from Team Adam this week. Ellen says, gee, Sharon, way to defend Adam. Let's see. Faith would be dead if Adam didn't save her in that barn during a tornado. Adam also took a bullet for Grandpa and saved his life too. I think Adam pulled Noah out of a fire set by Daisy too, but no, Adam is Satan. He's only evil, only cares about him, and has never been punished. Right. I do remember Adam saving Faith from a barn. I think that was played upon to kind of let Adam have a redemption moment after what had happened with Faith. And I want to say that led into his relationship with Sharon. I could be remembering that wrong, but yeah, certainly it's not as if Adam has never gone unpunished, unexposed. There's a lot of bad things that these characters do that, you know, that are very, very similar if we get right down to it. Superplex says, Billy forgets that Adam, disguised as Gabriel Bingham, saved him and Connor in 2015 during a Valentine's Day fire in Chelsea's condo. I don't remember that at all, but I believe it. Marianne V says, Adam is not evil. He is misguided and misunderstood. He's done some terrible things, and he's done some heroic things. But I'm sure none of those heroic things are in this expose. Adam deserves better than a one-sided expose of his crimes and misdeeds. And Jana says, exactly, you could write a one-sided article of most of the long-running characters on the show that would look horrible. I totally agree. I think that's exactly the thing. It's just that Adam's time is now. The decision has been made that it's Adam's time now to be in the spotlight of his deeds. And I imagine that very soon it will be someone else's time in the spotlight. If I had to guess, I would say it's going to be Billy. It's Adam's turn now, but I suspect that Billy's turn is coming. Sandra says, Billy Boy may be found with a bullet in his back. It was jarring that Adam said twice he was going to kill Billy Abbott. I mean, we can't not hear that. But Daisy says, I can't imagine that Adam will physically hurt Billy. I think he wants him to suffer, though. So Adam may find a way to ensure that Billy loses all credibility. That's what I think it is. I think that's what Adam's retaliation is going to be. I don't know why Adam said that. I also don't know why Chelsea's going to be stuck in the elevator next week. But I think that what Adam's retaliation will be to take away something that means a lot to Billy. I think this new career of Billy's means everything to him. And as Ashley said, I'm kind of worried that you've just swapped one addiction for another. I think that probably is what he's doing in some ways. Billy is very obsessive, and I think that he's doing that right now with the company and with this story. But I think Billy also has seen Chance come as a way for him to redeem himself from some of the other bad things that he's done and the other, bad choices that he's made and roads that he's traveled. So what Adam's retaliation needs to be, and I think will be, to snatch that. It'll be to snatch that away from Billy, something that means so much to him. Gary says, interesting how in confronting Billy, Adam has apparently processed his shrink sessions to not see himself as evil, but to defend himself as an 11-year-old boy, defending his blind mother from a bad man. This is a much better look on him, and now we see the evolution of the Sharon-Ray breakup, with Ray as Adam's chief prosecutor and Sharon running back to him. I didn't think of it that way, that yes, Adam has definitely come full circle into realizing that what he did was not a cold-blooded murder, that what he did was self-defense. And I didn't think about it that way, but it is an interesting evolution of Adam's psyche that he's now able to see himself that way. But yes, you also do make a point that that now we have Ray up in the mix. Now Ray is going to be in the position of prosecuting Adam and researching all of this, and Sharon is going to be defending Adam at every twist and turn along the way. I am just so glad that Sharon is still going ahead with her surgery. All of this came out before Sharon's surgery, but she stopped by. She had a chat with Adam. She said, I'm chatting with you. I'm sorry this is going on. I forgive you, but I have to focus on me. I'm having my surgery. I can't be your counselor, but you should continue to get some counseling. So we had that moment between them. But that's the other thing that I'm saying is the genius of bringing Faith into this story, and what is going to happen to Faith is the way that Adam and Sharon connect back into one another. I think Sharon is going to be in the position of having to explain this to Faith. I mean, Faith got out of the conversation pretty quickly this week, but whatever's going on with her is going to continue, and Sharon's going to be answering for it, and it's probably something that she is going to want to talk to Adam about again and again. Speaking of Ray, Leslie says, I'm always on the fence with whether I like Ray or not. When he goes into investigator mode, especially for some reason against Victor, it really turns me off of him. I could not believe it when he showed up investigating. I mean, how boring when there's no mystery left to the story. At least, no likely mystery left. Or is there, Leslie? Is there more to the story? I keep wondering that. I feel like Adam's going to plant someone, and he's going to feed misinformation to Billy and to Chancecom, and that's what's going to end up making Billy look bad. It's going to destroy his credibility. But here's this. Victoria says, wouldn't it be an interesting twist to have Alyssa working with Adam and Chelsea? She could be their red herring. Instead of getting dirt on Adam, she's putting together a video or an expose highlighting Victor, Nikki, Victoria, Nick, and all of their most nefarious moments. Such as Nikki killing Kyle's mother, Diane. The video could paint Adam as an innocent child, trying to save his mother, in direct contrast to the crimes that the other Newmans have committed. The video could expose, the video or expose would be the most effective dropping at the same time as Billy's story. Oh, goodness. I don't think that Alyssa's working with Adam and Chelsea, though. I just don't, because what would they have done to turn her around? Because Adam stole her evidence and booted her out of her own story. So I'm not sure what motivation Alyssa would have to be working with Chelsea and Adam, although I agree with you that it certainly would be a good twist. I also really like your idea of a counter story. Even if not Alyssa, then somebody else putting together a counter story about the Newmans and everybody else in town. The other thing I was thinking that would have been a cool way to do this, especially after Billy mentioned that he's working on part 2, would have been cool if it had been released as a podcast. Wouldn't that have been interesting? I mean, true crime podcasts became very, very popular, so it would have been somewhat topical to do it like that. And then Billy would have been releasing episodes, so we would have had this sense of a serialized release, so that we could have waves of drama coming out about Adam, and every week could have been a different note. I think that would have been interesting and maybe a little more modern, right? I mean, is anybody really flocking to the internet to read salacious clickbait articles? Maybe. Here's a great comment from Sherrod saying, as much as I do not care for the storyline with Adam, everyone should have a Chelsea by their side. I know it may be wrong, but it tickled me so hard when she told Adam to get the rope and she would get the chloroform. My girl is truthfully that ride or die mate. Love her. I thought that was so brutal. I just, you get the rope, I'll get the chloroform. That's it's a little shocking to my sensitive sensibilities, but I agree with her. She's all in with Adam. I think I would have felt so much stronger about Adam and Chelsea had he not just dumped her 2 weeks ago. I happen to believe that, it took me a long time to get on board, but I do think that Adam and Chelsea made a really good team, and the fact that he was ready to just so quickly eject when there was also something going on with Sharon, and he knows it and she knows it, it threw me off of the Adam and Chelsea bandwagon, but you're right, she's a good person to have on your side. Amanda says, I love Adam to the fullest. I love him with Chelsea. However, I do think it's time for him to pay for his crimes. Now, yes, Victor did cover up AJ Montalvo's death for Adam, but honestly, he did what any parent would most likely do. Now I think that Billy is out for war against Adam for Delia, and he has every right to be out for war. He also has it out for Victor for all the hell he's put him through about just being Billy. Should Billy have posted that article? Yes, but not without getting the all clear from Amanda. Billy better be prepared for war with the Newmans and a few lawsuits and probably getting fired by his own mother. I think it's possible this would be a good way to bring Jill back in, too, because somebody's going to have to be here to scold Billy for what he's just done and what he's opened the company up to with the lawsuits. Superplex says, there goes Lily again, chastising Billy. I can't wait to see those two make out on the desk. Yeah, if it's not Jill chastising Billy, it's Lily, isn't it? And there was that moment this week, Superplex, where Amanda and Lily were talking about Billy and just like, he gets us into so much trouble, but isn't it exciting? Subtext, isn't he kind of hot? But my ears perked up in that moment too, because I did have a sense of, I wonder if Lily is feeling attracted to Billy, and I wonder if there will be more there. I mean, eventually, right? Eventually Lily has to do something else. Superplex also says, Amanda, don't ever hitch a ride with Lily in your life, particularly if Lily's the driver. Yeah, that's a really good lesson for Amanda. She needs to know it quick. Somebody needs to stop her and sit down and have a talk with her. Do not get in the car with Lily, whatever you do. Actually, nobody should ever get in the car with Lily, because now that we've been through those classic episodes, I also think about right after the zoo escape, right after, for crying out loud, we saved Devon from the lion's den. Lily's bringing around the car to let the Winters family hop in, and she has, for some unknown, inexplicable reason, no control over the car. It's swerving all over the place, and she runs into Malcolm and Neil. Lily is a terrible driver. Victoria says, the writers did an excellent job on Phyllis's dialogue when she was talking to Amanda. It was touching, warm, and supportive. I hope Y&R has this conversation blossom into a friendship. We need more of those. I really liked that conversation too. And Gary mentions that occasionally emotionally desperate Phyllis has the ability to rise to her best self, as witnessed in that coffee clutch with Amanda. Two outsiders share a thoughtful and compassionate moment. I know I liked Phyllis. She had that moment where she said, I've lived here forever and I still am an outsider. It was a very sensitive, very vulnerable moment for Phyllis, and Amanda also returned it with a very sensitive and vulnerable moment when she sat down to talk with Phyllis about Hilary, and she let it go. She just had her breakdown, and she realized how hard all of this is to process. It is a very difficult thing, I'm sure, for her to deal with. And I agree. I really liked that conversation between Phyllis and Amanda, and I would love to, as Victoria said, to see more of a friendship. We need more actual really good friendships that are based on more than just, hey, let's go partying. A really good, strong girl friendship is always a good thing. Ambrini says, yeah, I was just thinking that Phyllis is one of the characters on the show with no family other than Summer. A red-headed actress will be joining the show soon. Maybe she'll be related to Phyllis. Also, somehow Phyllis has been on for years, and they make it work that she doesn't have any family yet. This is interesting because there would be so much room to develop around Phyllis, and they certainly tried to do it. Again, I'm just floored that she even mentioned Avery. They tried to talk about Avery. I think Avery and Phyllis even went and dug into their family past, and it just didn't work. It just didn't last. But even, you know, forgetting all of that, we have Daniel, who could certainly be on the show more often. Lucy, yeah, would be a lot of opportunity to build more around Phyllis. Yeah, I think, and you know, Summer, I like Avery. I think it would be cool to see Summer having an Aunt Avery. I'm sure that would tick Phyllis off a whole lot. Kamna says, I adore Phyllis and Michelle Stafford. But did anyone else think that her soliloquy in the hotel room was a little melodramatic? I mean, Phyllis usually needs an audience, right? In any case, she's off to make a deal with the devil and get herself in trouble. That twist works for me. I know, it was jarring, right? I mean, seeing Phyllis being so aggressive and so forceful and just talking to herself, it was over the top. That's why I'm saying it reminds me of 90s Phyllis. That's how she played Phyllis in the 90s. So do you think she's about to get herself into trouble? I mean, what's she gonna do? Ask Victoria for a loan? I just can't see Victoria wanting to get involved. Victoria's so cold and uninterested right now, so I can't see it working out for Phyllis. I'm feeling like maybe this is going to lead to her having to open up to Nick about the financial trouble and giving him an opportunity to give her a loan, and I don't know if I like that. They need something to do. I feel like I prefer believing that this hotel is Phyllis's, because if and when Phyllis and Nick's relationship goes down, I don't want to fight over the hotel. I want Phyllis to have it. I want it to be hers. So while I like the idea of Nick helping out in the background, I don't want him to be an owner. I really buy into the idea that this is Phyllis's thing in her life that she's built, that she owned. Like, she sold me on that when she was talking about buying Abby out of it. And I don't want to see that just go away out of nowhere and having her just need Nick for a bailout. But I feel like that's maybe where it's going. Tony says, oh no, Nick got a haircut. I'm sad. I think Nick's hair looks better. Sometimes his hair gets long and it's so out of control and it looks a little greasy. I'm a big fan of the high and tight haircut. I like it when it's tight on the sides, long on the top. And I thought he pulled it off really well. I mean, the second I saw his hair, the moment I saw his hair, I was like, ooh, good. But you don't like it. I could see that because it's just a preference. I think I prefer a tight haircut at this point. But long hair has its place. Let's talk about Summer and Kyle and Lola. Marianne B says, it's only a matter of time until Kyle will tire of Summer and will want Lola back. Especially since Lola is now done with Theo. And Sherrod responds, this is a possibility because Lola's defiance of Kyle asking her not to befriend Theo is what drove a wedge in their marriage. So now we can have a love quadrangle with Kyle, Lola, Mariah, and Summer. Now that would be something different and interesting. Sherrod also says, I'm so mad that when Kyle was still married to Summer, nobody was on his case about getting engaged to Lola. Now all of a sudden he's not mature enough to know that he should be with Summer? The wedding that should never have happened was the one to Lola. Ooh. I would have said that at the time. Yeah, that's how I felt at the time. I'm pretty sure that I wanted Kyle and Summer together at the time. But then at Y&R convinced me, the chemistry convinced me. We had the beautiful Kyle and Lola wedding, and I don't know, I think somewhere along the way I got on board and I really liked them together, and then I was angry that Kyle and Lola got torn apart without my consent. I mean, last Christmas they were together putting special ornaments on their tree, and it all just happened so fast. But I mean, ultimately, yes, no one in this town has any room to cast a stone at Kyle and his decision-making process. Both Jack and Nick and Phyllis throwing any kind of shade on Kyle about his romantic choices is absolutely laughable. They've all done worse. Laura says, whoa, after Summer's put down and Lola's smackdown, is Theo raw enough to do some unexpected major damage? I hope so. I hope so. I liked Theo as the troublemaker. I liked the way he was sitting there all smug, realizing that Summer had seen Kyle and Lola together and just poking her. He knows right where to poke her. I thought that was fun. And, I'm kind of wondering, I've seen a lot of people, I think Sherrod too mentioned that Lola is seeming like she might have a turn in her character, that she might start to be up to some dastardly deeds. I'm okay for a shake-up. Yeah, I'm all for a shake-up. Sounds good. Ramon says, I'd like to see Lola pregnant. There's tons of Newman babies out there, not Abbott's. Drama. Theo could raise Kyle's child. See, I'm so cued in immediately to the fact that Elena's pregnant now, which she is. Doubt it not. But it didn't even occur to me that, oh yeah, Lola might be pregnant with Theo's kid. I can't see Lola having sex with Kyle, though, right now. I mean, I like the idea of it in theory, but I can't see I can't see Kyle having sex with Lola. There's just no indication that he's still wishing that he had made a different decision with the divorce. To me, Kyle seems completely all in on Summer, but then again, he seems completely all in on Lola. So I don't know. I can't read him. Well, let's talk about Nate and Elena. Diana says, I'm not sure how the other chatters feel, but I feel like the love scene with Elena and Nate at the clinic seemed rushed and out of nowhere to me. Elena was talking about Jared and how he didn't want to die, when all of a sudden this music comes on and Nate is suddenly doing this thing with his eyes where he's trying to give Elena sexy eyes. It looked very forced and unnatural to me, almost awkward, as if it felt like there wasn't really enough build-up. Nate then asks Elena if she wants to be alone, as if Elena had given him a sign that she wanted him. I really don't know what gave Nate this impression, and I didn't see any indication of that at all. The next thing we know, they're getting it on at the clinic. I also want to add that it feels like it's out of Nate's character to take advantage of Elena when she is feeling vulnerable. I definitely feel like Y&R could have done a better job with the build-up to this love scene. Oh, and Calmness says, totally agree. It was out of nowhere. Actually, an almost kiss would have been better. I just accepted it for the ride, and this is totally all based on everything I feel about Nate, probably. I just wanted to high-five Elena all over the place. Like, somebody just needed to do it. I love the fact that anybody made Nate give those sexy eyes was like, oh my gosh. I was happy all over the place about it. Yes, it was quick. And the only thing I can say is I really do think Elena, they showed us the nightmare, right, with Elena, which, by the way, made me think that what was going on between Elena and Nate at first was a dream. I thought we were in another dream because she had a nightmare at the opener of that episode, and then at the end of the episode, she's having, like, out of the blue sex with Nate. I agree, it's fast, but I just love the scandal. I was just so thrilled by the fact that we just got Elena to do something really naughty. I think that Elena was tired. She might have been a little bit buzzed. And I think it's very interesting, Diana, that you say you think it's out of Nate's character to take advantage of Elena while she was feeling vulnerable. And it had occurred to me, too, that I wonder if Elena is going to feel that way. like Nate took advantage of her, which I don't think is fair. I mean, they both seem like consenting adults. It seemed like for one reason or another, the timing just came together and the clinic doors were locked, and I don't even know why they had beers in there anyway, but it just happened, and it did. It did. I wish that I could have seen it, but I don't know, something about that music and that lighting and the shadows on the wall, I mean, just the implication of it happening was so very sexy to me. I'm thirsty for Nate is what it is. I'm just thirsty for anything. I will drink the sand if I have to. But I'm sure a lot of people felt that way, that it was rushed. But I mean, there has been moments between them for the last couple of weeks where it's like Nate will say something and then Elena will like run away. There's been about 2 weeks of that, but I think Kamna's hitting on it here that probably a kiss would have been a little more appropriate, but I think I'm enjoying the fact that it was totally inappropriate. That's what has made it a draw for me. Here's a casting note. Sherrod says, Y&R has hired Madison Thompson to play a character named Jordan, who's being described as a worldly young woman who will prove that there's more than meets the eye. I know the actress was on the Netflix series called Ozark. She started filming today and her scenes begin airing in late October. Could she be the wife of the dead man in Las Vegas or some other connection to that story? Seems that the lady is only 19 years old, so maybe she's going to be somebody's kid? I hope that's it, because I want Courtney Hope to be the Las Vegas connection. Oh, I just remembered a comment that I wanted to make about a certain redhead who's being cast on the show, possibly being connected to Phyllis. I meant to say this, and then I got distracted. But I don't even think they're gonna have her hair red. I bet they're totally gonna transform Courtney Hope when she comes on. I don't know why. I just feel like if they're not gonna go with Sally Spectra, then I think that they're gonna try to distance her from Sally Spectra and give her a different look. But Sherrod, so Madison Thompson, I saw this too, a 19-year-old who's been cast. I tend to, at this point, I almost feel like I've learned to not think that just because someone's been cast, it's going to be a major part. Because it seems like Y&R is doing casting notices for people when they're only coming on for a couple of episodes. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she's being brought on as a full cast member or not. Maybe she is. But I don't know a thing about her. Ozark. Is that with Jason Bateman? I wanted to watch that because I like Jason Bateman. And I want to say I watched the first episode and it was a little too dark for me. You know me, I can't handle it being too dark. I was getting, this might not be Allie's style vibes, but I wanted to watch that show because everybody says it's excellent. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. But yeah, so 19 years old. Could she be a friend of Faith's? No, Faith isn't that old. But she could play younger. Oh, you said she started filming today, so that's probably another couple of weeks down the road that we would even see her. I don't know. Does anybody else have any speculations on who this lady could be? She'll probably just end up being somebody who stops by the clinic, like Jared. They did a whole casting notice for Jared, and then, I mean, we've only seen him a couple of times. Just hopping back to Nate and Elena for a second here. I mean, the fact that they brought Jared on just for this blah 5-second role just to be a drug addict, and it was so contrived and so trite and so totally unrealistic. The whole scenes of them saving his life were just almost just laughable to me, so I was not going to go into any detail on them. To me, it was blah, blah, Jared, blah, blah, whatever, Nate and Elena have sex. That's all it was there to do. And it did. Daisy says, I wonder if Dina had sold the necklace to get the money to start her own business. Unless Dina had another child who had the necklace. That's the only scenario I can think of. Okay, well, I wanted to mention this here real quick because when we were first getting the story about Dina and the necklace and Tracy was telling it, I thought to myself, well, could there somehow be a Mergeron connection here? Because as far as I know, Daisy, didn't Dina inherit the Mergeron Corporation after her husband died? I don't think that she started the business, right? What's it called? I think they just call it Mergeron. I believe she inherited the business after her husband died and then ran it. But it leads me to say there's really so much story that could be filled in around the Mergeron legacy. Who is Mr. Mergeron? I don't feel like I know anything about Mr. Mergeron. Does he have any other children that could be connected to this? I think that's a really interesting idea. Or is it possible that this emerald necklace is going to lead us to a Bold and the Beautiful connection? Sandra says, Allie, you need to put on your detective hat. Jennifer Garris posted a picture of herself at CBS Studios, captioning it with something like, I have such big news and wish I could tell you about it. That photo set off rumors that she may be reprising her role on Y&R as Grace Turner. Maybe Jackie Boy will find love again after all. Didn't Jack and Grace have a thing? I want to say that in the in the classic episodes over the summer, wasn't there a scene where Jack and Grace were dining together? Maybe that was Michael. But I'd say that's a pretty decent possibility. I didn't like Grace when she was on the show, but the times that I have tuned in to Bold and the Beautiful and seen her, I think she's come a long way. I like her more after having seen her on Bold and the Beautiful, so I'm totally open to that. And maybe you're right. Maybe this necklace is leading Jack to a romance after all. I'm telling you, Summer didn't mention it again this week about Jack dating for nothing. All right, everybody. That's my 2 cents. And now it's time for you to give me your 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 cents. I want to know what you think about all of the juicy drama that went on this week on our show. I mean, honestly, I was sitting there watching the Friday's episode and I was thrilled. I could not believe it. I thought Y&R gave us a great week of drama, and I can't wait to hear if you guys liked it too. Go to yrchat.com to leave your comments and to vote in the poll. Ooh, I think we got a really good week ahead of us. It's been a good week behind us, and I'm really, really excited about it. So come back next Sunday, and we will chat about it all over again. All right? I love you guys. Have a good week. I'll see you next time. Bye.